This is Over the Hump with Job and Pablo. And this is our fourth episode. Is that right, Job?
Fourth episode featuring another Brent alumni.
It's been 4 weeks already? That's so cool. Well, here's the video.
Ayala. I'm from the Brent graduating class of 2004, a long time ago. How are you guys?
You're doing good. So,
Yeah, we're doing good.
Coach Richie said you were in Australia right now, right?
Yes,
So-
I'm in Sydney. Well, I live in Sydney, but right now I'm 2 hours south down the coast, right in front of the beach. So I'm just having a relaxing time.
So, Coach Richie is the one who reached out to you, and she didn't tell us a lot about what you did back in Brent. So, would you care to share what your high school life was at Brent back in the day?
High school life was pretty awesome. I played a lot of sport. I was on the soccer team mostly, and I think I did a couple of 1 or 2 seasons of basketball. So I hung out with Coach Trench a lot, and she was a big role model for myself and a lot of my peers in the sporting community back then. I was in the varsity council like you guys. I wonder if we were the first varsity council. You'll have to check that with Coach Strinchy, but it was pretty new when I was in it. So yeah, we've got a little bit in common.
Coaches told us that, yeah, and you told us that you played a lot of sports when you were in Brent. So how did you transition from sports to music?
I've always been some kind of a musician. You know, we're Pinoy, right? Or we grew up. Are you guys Pinoy?
Yep.
Yeah. I think we all kind
Yeah.
of start out at least a little bit musical, right? Like, do you guys have music in your family as well? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would even argue that maybe music came first before sport, because there's always a piano around, and my dad always played guitar. My uncle always played guitar. I think the first time I tried the instrument out I was 9 or something. So that was first. And then I just played chords and acoustic. And I played sports in high school, and I didn't really take music seriously until, I don't know, maybe I was 19 or even in my early 20s. That's when I started taking music seriously. I studied music at uni. That's probably the major.
That's like the major transition.
That was.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if you took music for
funny.
uni.
Yeah, I did. I studied music at uni, but I was playing sports still. I still played soccer on the side, or at uni. And so I guess maybe that was it. I've never felt like I had to choose one over the other. You know, I mean, maybe unless I would have chosen to be like a professional sports person, but I never really thought I was that good. And to be honest, I've never really thought of myself as that good a musician either. So it's just something. These are things that I really enjoy doing.
How was taking music for college?
I went to Macquarie University and I studied a Bachelor of Arts in Music, right? Which means that, well, it's different to a Bachelor of Music. A Bachelor of Arts with a focus in contemporary music was a lot of research into things like the history of DJ culture. And there was singing, there was guitar, and there was music production and music business and stuff like that. But it was like a liberal arts degree, which was super cool for me. But I think it's completely different than doing something like a Bachelor of Music at the conservatorium, right? So I had a rad time studying things, listening to music, getting hanging out with people that were very similar to myself. But at the same time, I think I've learned the most from my career, on the job. So I don't know, maybe I could have studied anything.
And still have the music as a career.
Yeah. I don't know. I think so. There are a bunch of musos that, that are doctors here. There are a bunch of musos that went to the con, and the con is the conservatorium. They call it the con here. And the great thing about going to those kinds of schools is that you have this massive network, and it's easier for you to get gigs because they always recommend their peers, right? So I think that's probably the best thing about doing a degree in the field you want to be in, is a network. You could still be a musician, you could still be part of the scene, but you'll have a better start and you'll have an easier time if you already know everyone before you even get there. So even Spirit Week's online.
Online Spirit Week.
Wow.
Yeah, the Varsity Council's been like dealing with all of that on Instagram and Snapchat, trying to bring together the Brent community. Super fun.
You guys are that's so cool. You're so busy and so involved. We never even had this kind of technology. I don't know what we would have done back then if a pandemic hit and we all had to. We probably couldn't do it from home. But are you guys able to go to each other's houses at all? Like, are you able to visit friends? What's that like?
I think it depends on where you live, because where I live right now, you're allowed to go to other people's houses, but kids under the age of 18 can't go like to the malls or anything.
Yeah, right.
I think it's different for where you live. You live, Job, right? Are you allowed to leave your house?
No, we're not allowed at all. You get fined if you're outside.
All right. Yeah. Here it's fine to leave your house, but if you're under 18, you can't go anywhere else besides another person's house. Actually, before that, what kind of music do you usually play when you play with a band?
I think my situation's a little bit eclectic because I'm a sessionist, so that means that I play for a few bands, and whoever needs a guitarist, then I'm available, and the money's good, then I'll do it. So I play a lot of rock and pop because I'm kind of in that scene. And recently I've been getting into bands that are like I don't know, effect heavy, indie electronica pop, which is really, really cool, right? Because I'm at that point in my playing where I'm really into effects. So that's a lot of fun for me when I get to do gigs like that involve a lot of, I don't know, sound design and tones and stuff like that. Yeah, so I play. So in short, mostly pop rock indie stuff. Yeah.
Music
recommendations.
Yeah.
In terms of like what who to listen to as a guitarist, or just what kind of music I'm listening to right now, or
how about like the music you're listening to right now as like a musician?
Like right now, because you guys know that it fluctuates. You listen to a bunch of musicians depending on your mood. Right now, I'm listening to Radiohead a lot. Do you guys know Radiohead? Are you aware of that band?
I've heard of them.
Okay.
I listened to a couple songs.
Yeah, they've got a crazy discography. You should listen to the albums OK Computer and In Rainbows. Well, yes. But I'm not sure if you guys would appreciate that as much as I do at this point, because you kind of have to be in the right headspace. And right now, like I said, I'm so into effects and guitar tones and stuff like that. And that band, those albums for me at the moment are so rich. And so I really nerd out when I listen to that. I'm also listening a lot to Death Cab for Cutie. Do you know those guys?
I haven't heard.
No worries. They were big, I think, in like 2005 or something crazy like that. So they're cool. Do you guys listen to any Australian bands?
I might have,
Does
but
AC/DC count?
Yes. Well, they're only like the biggest Australian band in the world. Yeah, they count.
right, so I have a question about like learning guitar because I'm a guitarist myself, right?
Yeah.
So, what kind of music do you think is best to improve one's guitar playing?
Oh, whatever makes you keep playing it, I think, right? Like that's number one. You have to be inspired to sit there for a long time and play the same thing over and over and over again and break it down into smaller bits and play those bits and then play the other bits that are really hard and then put them together and then play them again and then you rest for and then you play them again, right? Like, so it has to be something you really like. That would be the main criteria for me. If it, and depending on the degree of difficulty, right? The harder it is, the more you need to like it. Okay, because if it's easy, then you'll get it fast, so you don't have to like it that much. But if you want to improve on something, if you want to take a giant leap to improve your skill, then you better really freaking like this piece. Well, that's number one, I guess.
What are your tips on like, performing on stage and like being entertaining, working a crowd? What are your tips on that?
Oh man, I have performance anxiety, right? Do you guys have that? Yeah.
Like before performances, Job and I are like talking about how we're gonna walk around the stage, do all sorts of poses. And when it goes to the actual performance, you're just standing still.
Yeah. I get, yeah. So that's okay. It's okay because if you recognize that's a thing, and then then the performance becomes a challenge for you, and if you can think of the performance as a challenge, then you can take little steps to achieve that goal of yours, right? So for me, over the years, I've kind of worked out a pre-show routine. Like everybody has a pre-game routine, right? It's the same with
Yeah.
So I've taken what we used to do in our teams, warm-ups and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy sometimes because I used to do push-ups and I used to do burpees before shows, because because it would help me, get in the zone and get my blood pumping and my heart rate up, so I wouldn't really, so I don't know why, but it helps, right? So number one, have like a little pre-show ritual that's kind of physical, and then also do the mental thing, like what you guys are doing, right? But when you get on stage, I've heard and I've read somewhere that walking reduces anxiety. Yeah, have you guys heard that before?
Is that
a thing? Okay. So apparently the act of walking reduces anxiety. That's why people pace. That's why people go out and get fresh air and they go for long walks when they're feeling a little bit claustrophobic and that kind of thing. So when you step foot on stage, walk, right? And that works really well with your performance because you're moving. Okay, so the moment you step foot, you set up, do all the stuff you need to do, you're all set. Just keep moving. And you'll find that the more you do that, the more comfortable you're going to feel and the more you can tap into your beast mode. Yeah. So, yeah. I guess
Pablo, I don't know if you know this, but like for me, when I get nervous, like before a performance or something, I get very like touchy and physical. I punch everything that moves.
That's your pre-show routine, Joe. I don't remember the last time.
You punch things. Let's not condone violence, though. Just And don't
Yeah,
hurt your
jump
hands before
around,
you perform. Okay,
shadow box.
yeah.
Like you're preparing for a
Yeah,
boxing
that's
match
cool.
or something.
Yeah, totally. And that, yeah, everybody does it, right? You need that. So that's super important.
I guess the first time Job and I performed on stage. Can I tell the story? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, right? For Food Fest.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Joe walked up to the mic and he didn't sing. So we were all then like looking at him, dude.
Oh,
So it was just an instrumental version. He passed
that's
it off as an
great.
instrumental.
That's great. That's awesome.
That was like in 8th grade. It
Yeah,
was
that was
like
in
2 years
grade.
ago.
That's
You're
so
better
cool
than
that
that now, right? Joe?
Hopefully.
I'm sure you are. Food Fest it was like my favorite time of the year.
Okay, that's about as much questions as we have for this
Okay,
episode.
cool.